What's going on, everybody? It's John with ACTION-FLIX.com, going trailer, tactical, and weekly intel crazy for you. We got a combo edition going on tonight. And again, another live episode, two in the course of 2 days. It's a world record. I haven't done a live show in months, and then I did one yesterday, of course, as you already know, because we did a trailer tactical yesterday because it was a special day. Not only was it a special day, we had not one but two really, really cool trailers come out. So I was like, you know what? I am going to do not one, but I'm going to do two trailers because when you have Tom Hardy in Havoc and then of course Scott Adkins going all bad in Day of Reckoning, you have to do more than one. So I did that and we had a lot of fun. I talked about both of them. Havoc, of course, everybody's been waiting for that for like 4 years now since it was announced. Holy cow, it's been a long road for that movie. They filmed it, and then of course Gareth Evans, who directs the movie, we all know Gareth Evans from The Raid and everything. He's, for what, post production, doing shoots and stuff, reshoots and stuff like that. Just took a long time. But now, April 25th, it is finally upon us. Just real quick recap, we had the artwork, which shows a very pissed off looking Tom Hardy who's bruised, battered, and bloody. And then, of course, we all saw the initial round of images that went with it. And then, of course, we had Day of Reckoning, which stars Scott Adkins as a bad guy, and Billy Zane, and a guy from the Vampire Diaries. But we don't have many images from that. We just have this with Scott Adkins on a hawk. All right, so I'm not going to dwell too much on that because I did that yesterday. So that's on my YouTube channel as well as the actionflix.com website, so make sure you check that out. Also, real quick, I just want to go over a few things. I did a lot of interviews here recently. Still going to put out my one interview tonight. It comes out tomorrow. It's called Uppercut. Louie, she's a German actress and producer. She produced it as well as stars in it. It's a boxing film where she stars alongside Ving Rhames, so that's pretty cool. I got to talk to her about the movie, and we had a great chat, and where we talked about, her getting into the movies industry as well as, directing the movie. But I also have some really cool interviews I have up now. Of course, we have Martin Campbell, who directed Daisy Ridley, Taz Skylar, and Clive Owen in Cleaner. So that's up now. As we all know, Martin Campbell is a, prolific filmmaker. He's introduced not one but two James Bonds to the world in Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan, and he's done the Zorro with Antonio Banderas. And then, of course, I have my interview with Taz Skylar himself. He's killing it on One Piece's Sanji, the Netflix series that's based on the manga, and then he's the bad guy in Cleaner. Had a great conversation with him. We talked about the movie. We talked about martial arts, which he learned when he got the role for One Piece, and then he's continued with it, which is really cool because he's got a black belt in Taekwondo and a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, which is pretty cool. So that interview is up now. And of course, we have Simon West. And I'm going to give you a little snippet of my Simon West interview on this edition of Trailer Tactical and the Weekly Intel. Jason Statham edition, because he talks about Jason Statham in The Mechanic, as we talked about Old Guy, which is his new movie, which stars Christoph Waltz, but I also managed to get The Mechanic in there, as well as Con Air, of course, and The Expendables 2. And he had a great anecdote about Jason Statham on the set of Mechanic, so I'm going to play that for you. So that's part of my interview with Simon West. Okay, so let's get it rolling, shall we? So like I said, this is kind of a dual thing. I said I wasn't going to do that, but when it's Jason Statham, you make exceptions because the man is a living legend. He is an action icon. He, say what you will, he plays the same roles. He acts the same way in every movie. Who cares? Because he's badass and he's awesome. And every time he makes a movie, he kicks the crap out of everybody. So he's got a lot of movies in the works. So, 2 days ago, I did Weekly Intel, and we talked about Mutiny coming out next year on January 6th. So, we have Jason Statham coming out early next year with Mutiny. And then, of course, we talked a little about his untitled action film that he's now making with director Rick Roman Wall, who's most known for action fans. He did Angel Has Fallen with Gerard Butler, as well as Greenland, and the sequel with Gerard Butler. So, they're doing that. Does not have a title, but it's going to be Jason Statham kicking ass, so who really cares what the title is right now? So there you go. So today was a Jason Statham day. You could call it Jason Statham Day if you want, because not only did we get some really cool news, a really cool update about the Beekeeper 2, which we all knew a sequel was probably going to be coming, but it was officially announced. But there's a switch. Yes, and I'll talk about it. Some of you will love it, some of you might not as much, but I was like, okay, that's fine. It's pretty cool. But like, a lot of you guys are going to be like, hey, why not the other guy? Type of thing. But of course, I'm pretty sure it's got to do with schedules and stuff like that. But we'll get into that in a minute. But they've also released today Amazon MGM, who is putting out a Working Man this March 28th. Yes, big day with Jason Statham. And again, David Ayer directed this one again. They hooked up, reunited from The Beekeeper. And Jason Statham, again, is playing the same character. He's a working class man. He was a beekeeper in that one. Now he's a construction worker in this one. And it just ends up he's an ex-badass operative from whatever government. We don't know. It could have been Britain. It could have been the U.S. We don't know. It's just he's a badass mofo. And he kicks the living crap, again, out of people. And now we got the Red Band trailer. So here's the thing. If you weren't already excited for a Working Man from the initial Green Band trailer that they showed, well, this one will definitely, you'll be like, yep, okay, I don't know why I was on the bridge with this one, but I'm definitely on board now because holy cow. They also released some images to go along with it. So these are from Amazon. I got the email today from Amazon MGM. They send me these new images. That's from The Beekeeper, my bad. Here we go. This is a new one from A Working Man. And here's him with David Harbour, who looks like he plays a really cool character. He's his comrade who's blind. Looks like he's going to have a lot of fun with that. And then there's Jason Statham in his construction hat, just looking badass as he's just walking around the construction site, being all Jason Statham. So those are some new images that we have. All right, so we got Real Popcorn Geek chiming in again. Thank you again for your support. Let's see what he has to say. He says, I was hoping for David Ayer to... No, don't get ahead. I haven't announced that yet. I'll get that out in a second. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about so I'm going to do the trailer at the end. So we're going to end this podcast with us watching the Red Band trailer for A Working Man. So we're going to talk about Beekeeper 2. So here we go. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's A Working Man. There's my website for ACTION-FLIX.com. And there is my initial post that I did about the Beekeeper 2. I did that today before I went to work. There is an awesome shot of Jason Statham from the original Beekeeper. Now, the biggest thing, David Ayer is not returning to direct as we all thought he would. They're trying to get him to produce it, but I think he's filming a movie with Brad Pitt right now, so I think it's just a scheduling thing. So, it sucks that he's not going to return to direct the sequel with Jason Statham. As we all know, they did a phenomenal job with the first one, and it looks like they did a really phenomenal job for their encore in A Working Man. But unfortunately, David Ayer's not going to return. But... and this is a big but, because if you don't get David Ayer, why don't you just get the man that's behind The Shadow Strays and then that comes for us? That's right, Timo Tehanta, who is directing Nobody 2. He directed Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk, comes out this year. He's taken over in the director's chair. This is exciting news because we all know what Timo can do behind the camera. He is responsible for some of the most bloody, ultra hyper violence and action-packed movies from Indonesia. Like I said, The Shadow Strays, one of the best action movies of last year. The Night Comes For Us, which starred Joe Taslim, and Eco US, which was essentially a horror movie disguised as an action movie because of all the... holy cow, was that a bloody film. And The Shadow Strays was just as bloody. I finally got my chance to watch it. I had not watched it initially when it came out just because it was, too busy, stuff like that. But the man is badass behind the camera, and if you're going to have David Ayer step away and not do the sequel, well, then by all means bring Timo on, because we all know that what's going to happen is because he's probably going to make the Beekeeper 2 even more bloodier, if that is at all possible, than the initial movie that it's based on. Okay, so that's the biggest news we had today. The Beekeeper 2 is going to start shooting this fall, and Timo is behind the director's... he's in the director's chair behind the camera, teaming up with Jason Statham. This is Jason Statham's first time working with Timo, so we all... excuse me. We also... what he can do with Eco US and Joe Taslim as his muses. Now, sorry. I just swallowed. And then now we're going to see what he could do with Jason Statham. Now let's see what Real Popcorn Geek was saying as I take a swig of my Pepsi. Hang on. That's better. He says, I was hoping for David Ayer to return to the director's chair, but after checking out the new director's resume, I feel very confident. Yes, Tebow can bring it. We know it's gonna be badass. We know the action design is gonna be off the charts, like the first one. And it's live, guys. Sorry, I'm choking, but I'll get through it. I'm a professional. And at the same time, we know that it's probably going to raise the bar and even go above and beyond what they did with the initial one. So very excited about that. So if you're a Jason Statham fan, like I said, he's in his mid-50s now. And the man looks great for one thing, and he's moving better than ever. Like, the action that he's doing in these movies is better than what he has done in the past. Not saying that he didn't do good in the past, but it just seems like he's taking that extra step, like in terms of doing the fight choreography and when he's doing the action and everything. You know, the Transporter movies were kind of like more Hong Kong flair, you know, that type of, you know, fight choreography. This is more badass, visceral, down, ugly, you know, kind of like MMA if you're going to, you know, give it a title. In terms of, you know, it's just punching, elbows, knees, stuff like that. So, excuse me. So here's the thing. So with Jason Statham now, I think he's really solidifying himself as an action superstar. Not that he wasn't before, but even though he plays the same roles, it's like, come on. The man is a living legend. He's got that same flair. He's got that same aura, that same presence that Stallone did, and then Schwarzenegger and Van Damme and Lundgren did back in the 80s. And now, of course, he's not as jacked as they are. He's jacked, but he's not, you know, those guys were on another level. But this man is on the same playing field as those guys. Of course, he starred with all of them, you know, so he can bring it just as much as these guys could in the 80s. All right, so let's see what Real Popcorn Geek has to say again. He says, at least the writer from the first movie is also returning along with Statham, so there's even more continuity. Absolutely. So, I mean, even if they got a different writer, I mean, it probably would have been, because I'm sure they can, you know, if they brought a different writer on, you know, I'm sure he's seen the first movie, and it's like, you know, you can still kind of, you know, bridge the gap. But it's cool that the same writer's coming back, so that's very cool to talk about. Now, here's what I want to do for you guys. I want to do something special here. Like I said, I got the chance to interview before we watched the trailer, the Red Band trailer for A Working Man. Like I said, I interviewed Simon West for his movie Old Guy, which came out last week. We talked about, yes, sir, we talked about Jason Statham in The Mechanic. I wanted to do like a rapid fire thing at first. I wanted to have to kind of like, just like real quick, because I only had 10 minutes with him. I was going to do this fun thing with him where I was like, I blurt out a movie that I loved that he did and just have him talk real quick about it. But he's, you know, again, this is great. He gave long answers. So I'm like, well, you know what? The rapid fire thing's out. So let's see if we could get through The Mechanic. And then let's see if we could talk about Expendables. And I did. And then Con Air was kind of like in there. You know, I still managed to get it in there because, of course, that's probably one of my favorite Simon West movie. And of course, it's totally ridiculous, totally overblown, bombastic. Nicolas Cage at his best. He's got the hair, everything. Oh my, you know, John Malkovich chews up the scenery as Cyrus the Virus. And actually, we just talked about it on the Action Elite Live just a little bit ago, because that's Owen's favorite movie as well. So I'm going to show the snippet from that interview where he has this awesome anecdote that he talks about in relation to hang on, that's the same one. I have both open right now, so I got to get it to the next one. So here we go. This is the one I'm looking for. There we go. There he is. There's Mr. West himself. Yeah. So he talks up. He has this. So basically, this is just to solidify, in case there was any doubters out there. Jason Statham, yes, we know he probably wouldn't be able to like blow through an army like he does in the movies, but he is just as badass in real life as he is on screen, because this is a fun little story that Simon West has about The Mechanic. So without further ado, I'm going to let the man himself talk about it. This is fun, so take a listen. Yeah, So first of all, I got The Mechanic with Jason Statham. Again, a remake of the Charles Bronson film. Love that. Talk about a little bit about that.
Well, I've worked with Jason a few times. I think I've done 3 films with him, so we have
Yes.
a great shorthand, and it's always great. And he's a type of a movie star, I suppose, that has incredible screen presence. He can do incredible things with just a close up of his face. So you learn over 3 films how to shoot him and how to make him look great on the big screen. But also, he's a master of the action scenes. He was an athlete, so you can put him in all sorts of incredible situations, and he's totally unfazed. I remember on The Mechanic, I was on a building 450 feet in the air. It's like 45 stories, and me and the crew are absolutely terrified. Up on this rooftop, and there's nothing on the edges, and then Jason's just walking around the edge, making phone calls, sitting on the edge, dangling his feet, absolutely not phased. And in fact, the scene that was shooting up there was him and Ben Foster jumping off after holding onto a cable and riding out. And the thing is, it's a horrible flying situation. And in some ways, Jason, because he's not really scared at all, you kind of almost have to make him look a little more tense than it is, because it is, to a normal human being, a terrifying situation. And in fact, to Ben Foster, who is terrified of heights, decided to do it as well to make the film more realistic. So we don't use green screen or anything like that. We actually jump off a 450-foot building on a descender cable, and the camera flies down with them. And so super cool on the way down, and Ben Foster's looking absolutely terrified, which was his character, but it was also Ben Foster looking terrified, which really worked great for the film, because that's exactly what it. And you don't get that with on a green screen and a wind machine. You just it's all fake, and you can see it's fake, but that was totally real. So that was one of my favorite bits out of The Mechanic.
So as you can see right there, like the rapid fire thing was out the window. I was like, the story's gold. I mean, you gotta love the story. Jason Statham, he's up on this high rise. Ben Foster's like, Ben Foster's like, he's up there making phone calls, dangling his feet. He's like, "Are we gonna shoot this or what?" I could just hear Jason Statham like talking to the crew and everything. So, so I was like, you know what? Okay, so I only had 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm still gonna get as much as I can about, like, because I want to talk to him about Expendables 2, and more specifically the iconic shot of the trinity of Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and Willis. We all know it at the end when you see the plate glass, and then they start shooting and it breaks, and there they are all standing side by side, and they're just mowing down the bad guys. And such an iconic moment if you're an 80s and 90s action fan. So even though this is the Jason Statham edition of the Weekly Intel and Trailer Tactical, I figured, why not just have Simon West tell us about the Expendables 2 as well. So here you go. This is bonus Simon West for you. Now, of course, you're responsible for making one of, at least mine and everybody else I talked to, the best Expendable movies, Expendables 2. You had everybody in that movie. So real quick, just 1 minute on how it was to be with all those great action stars, and the scene of Schwarzenegger, Willis, and Stallone all together, and the glass shatters, and that was like the most iconic moment ever. So just real briefly, then we'll get into the old guy. Talk about that.
Well, I'm glad you picked that up, because that was one of my main things. That's what all the way through shooting I was looking forward to, is getting those 3 in the same frame, because I'd seen the first one and I was a little frustrated that they're in it, but they're not doing that much, and also they're not all together as action. And I thought, God, if I could be the person that has Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis in the same frame, all shooting their big guns and kicking ass, then I can die happy. And so that was it. The whole shoot was sort of leading up to that shot of the 3 of them together, because I thought no one's ever done that and probably never will again. So that was like as you said, the iconic part of the film for me, as well as you for that.
And then the helicopter scene too, where they're all in front of the helicopter, and Von Dom's that too. That's one I watch over and over again. And then let's talk. Okay, so there you go. So at the same time, I was able to get that little tidbit about Expendables 2. Again, another great anecdote from Simon West. And of course, later on, he did mention Con Air because, I was talking about how Old Guy, which, if you haven't seen it, not as bombastic as those other movies. It's more of a low key, I'd say it's more of like an indie thriller, it doesn't have the budget of, Con Air or Expendables or even the Mechanic for that matter, but still has some pretty good action. Christoph Waltz is great in it. And he was able to talk about Con Air and how, that was totally ridiculous. And then they knew what they were making at the same time. All right, so let's go back to Jason Statham, because as we all know, this is the Jason Statham edition of the ACTION-FLIX podcast. And like I said, today they released the coolest trailer that I've seen in a while. Holy cow, this is the red band trailer for the Working Man, which again reunites David Ayer with the man Jason Statham. And again, we all, he's not directing the Beekeeper 2, which is unfortunate. But again, like I said, if you're not going to have David Ayer return and direct the sequel, get Timo Badass Tiahanto and make sure he, puts his stamp of approval on it, with the glorified violence and everything. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So I am going to make this as small as humanly possible, so that way YouTube does not date me. Hey, I just saw that. I got my Jason Statham poster right behind me. That's a happy accident. I always have that poster up, so there you go. See, it's like, look, how cool is that? There he is. It's like I'm sitting next to him. All right, so without further ado, let's get this show on the road and watch. Again, if you're watching this with the children in the bedroom or in the living room, do have them go watch Bubble Guppies or what some other Nickelodeon show. You can tell I grew up with daughters. So here it is, the red band trailer for A Working Man, also called probably the most badass action movie of 2025. It's like bored.
That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife.
That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you?
He's a working.
A 19-year-old girl was kidnapped. She's my family.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home.
You clearly have no idea who you fuck with.
I was hungry.
Fuck you.
This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
She's hunting us.
Oh, that is not good.
Want to have a race?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Time to get to work.
Is that a grenade?
Yep.
This is nothing like Fortnite.
What can you say? I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? If for a popcorn, I love you, man. You're a true bro. Bare knuckle crunching. Oh, he's like, I was hungry. Yeah, I love that part. It's like, oh, my lunch is ready. Oh, yeah, you're just like the rest of us. None of us can wait. It's like, oh my God, how exciting. But, okay, here's the thing. Like I said, and I'm going to defend Jason Statham because you all know how big of a Jason Statham fan I am. I mean, aside from the legends of Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Lundgren and Van Damme and all those guys that came out in the 80s and 90s, probably right now my most favorite action stars, of course, the Scott Adkins, which I talked about yesterday, Day of Reckoning. He plays the bad guy against Billy Zane's U.S. Marshal. Atkins plays a motorcycle riding bad guy who's after his wife who has been caught by the law, and it's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. And if you watched yesterday, I kind of compared it to another Scott Atkins movie, and I forgot to say the name. It was Close Range, because we all know that movie. He played Colton McCready. He was the good guy, and they got assaulted at the farmhouse by the cartel. Well, here it's a farmhouse, and he's the one that's assaulting, Billy Zane and them, so it's kind of like a reversal of fortune. So I forgot to say it was Close Range. So my bad on that one. It's like, I was like, yeah. And I was watching it last night, editing it. I was like, I never said what it was. Well, it was Close Range. Yeah, it's exactly like Close Range, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's kind of cool because, like I said, it is and it isn't, and Atkins is a bad guy. So that's all. So I just wanted to fix that. So let me go back to Statham. Okay, like I said, he takes his lumps because everybody's like, the man has the same expressions, he talks the same, he's always so cool. He's kind of like Seagal if you think about it, because back in the 80s and the 90s, Seagal was like, he was like, I'm badass, I'm indestructible, nobody could touch me. Now, the Beekeeper, he got beat up pretty good, I thought, the Beekeeper and everything. But Statham plays that same badass, action-heavy role, and that's okay, because that's what we want from Jason Statham. But he's done different things. I mean, there was Spy, with Melissa McCarthy, which was freaking hysterical. And he was probably the funniest thing in it because he was kind of playing against himself. So, yeah, he's done different things. But this is his forte. This is what he is going to be known for when all is said and done. The Stath. I mean, is there no other? No. Just like Simon West said, everybody's up there like, hey, this is really high. And then he's up there like, yo, hey, I'd like to order a pizza. It's like, that's just Jason Statham for you. So I will take as many of these Jason Statham movies as he can make. Now, like I said, we all know he's in his 50s. I'm 52, but that's just a number. He's, like I said, he's like, Stallone's in his 70s, for God's sakes. And Stallone's still in great shape. Obviously, he's not moving like he did back when he was running around in Rambo First Blood Part 2. But if Statham stays the way he is, and there's no reason why he wouldn't, he could be doing these movies for another 10, 15 years, even more. If he continues, to stay, and he works out like a fiend. So I will take these movies until the cows come home. Seriously. I mean, just look at that. I mean, just.
That's for slapping your wife.
I mean, just.
Who are you?
It's fun. Because he gives the bad guys what they
The
deserve.
19-year-old girl was kidnapped. She's my family.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
They kidnapped his best
All
friend's
of this
daughter.
is for a
You
girl.
don't do
I'm
that.
not stopping until I bring her home.
You clearly have no idea who you fuck with.
I was hungry.
Fuck you.
This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking.
You killed your way into this.
So it was phishing
have
in the
to
last
kill your
one,
way out of it.
scams on the internet. Now it's human trafficking.
She's hunting us.
Oh, that is not good.
Want to have a race?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
And I love the
Look
end.
at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Time to get to work.
Is that a grenade?
Yep.
Yep.
This is nothing like Fortnite.
Okay, so again, we have to watch it twice, like I did yesterday, or like with the Accountant 2 when I did trailer technical for the Accountant 2 at the end when they come storming out, like Butch and Sundance, and then Berthold transitions to his secondary weapon. I'm just like, yes. I'm like, it's like if you can't get excited, you're not an action fan, because holy cow, with all the complaining that goes around nowadays in terms of these movies and stuff like that, when it's done like this, it's like, how can you not enjoy this, people? This is what action is. This is what action cinema is. It's like, it's that. It's Statham. It's, is that a grenade? Yep. And you notice he flicks it and he's still holding it. It's like once it's like you better throw it. But he's like, I'm just gonna hold it for a second because I'm Jason mother effing Statham. Yep. There we go. Now I'll throw it. It's like it's so badass in terms of So let's, for fun and giggles, let's because I was actually gonna do a trailer tactical for the first trailer that came out for it. But here, first, let me do this though. I'm gonna show some of the images again that came out today, and I got these from Amazon MGM. So all credit goes to them. Photo credit Dan Smith. I love that shot. That's a good. That's like an iconic shot of Jason Statham. He's tacked up, looking pissed off. Not only is he tacked up, he's kind of like tacked up, but he's still working, man. He's got the flannel, but he's tacked up. So, and then there he is. Yep, I'm Jason Statham. I'm a construction worker. And then here's, I love this shot. I think this is like actually a behind the scenes shot of him and David Harbour. Again, looks like a great role. They don't show us David Harbour in this trailer, but they did show him in the last one. So that looks pretty cool. And then that's the initial one. That's the thumbnail that they use for the YouTube video. So that's an alarm going off in my in my parking lot. So if you heard that, my apologies. Yeah, I gotta love when you do this stuff live, right? All right, so let's, for crap and giggles, let's do the first trailer. Since I didn't get a chance to do a trailer tactical for the first one, let's do the trailer tactical for the first one. And again, it's not as, it doesn't, it's actually, I think the first trailer was better in terms of the action that it showed. So yeah, so here we go. And again, I'm going to make it teeny tiny. Yep, here we go. I don't even enlarge it on the screen. I'm just like, I'm even going to show it smaller in my window so that way YouTube's not like, you can't show that. And I got a question. And if y'all chime in, let me know in the comments, like there's like, you go on YouTube, right? And you're browsing and stuff like that. People like share full-on clips of movies and stuff like that. How does that not get dinged by YouTube? They're not even talking. It's not even for commentary. It's just, they're just showing the scene. But yet we do this where I'm like, it's in a window and I'm talking over it and I'm critiquing it. But yet they're like, oh, you can't show that. It's like, I'll never understand YouTube. YouTube is the straight, YouTube's like all of it. Facebook, social media, holy cow, what a cluster F this all is. Because it's like, come on. It's like, we're just talking, we're getting excited. It's like, they don't want you to get excited about it. You already, it's not like we leaked the trailer, and it's like, we're showing this and we're not supposed to. It's like, you released it and we're all just talking about it because we're effing excited about it. So... yeah, YouTube is, no kidding. Good Lord, I have another word, not fickle. There's another one I want to use, but it's just it's a headache. I got this interview with Lauren Avedon. You know Lauren Avedon, right? King of the Kickboxers, No Surrender 2, Raging Thunder. Such a great guy, great martial artist. Did the '90s action movies for seasonal. I did an interview with him and we critiqued a lot of his fights and it got dinged. And I had to take it down and I have not put it back up to this day. I have to kind of go through it and kind of figure out how to do it. Such a great interview, but some freaking company overseas was like, oh, we have rights to this. I'm like, how can you even, it's like, oh, ugh. All right, he says, what will go unflagged on one channel will get flagged on a reactor. Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on. It's like, let's just have fun. And like, you're getting people excited. You're talking about it. And this isn't what you want. I mean, I know I'm not like humongous like JoeBlow.com or anything, but it's like, don't you want as much publicity for your movies as possible? Like, here I am, taking time out of my day to do a podcast to talk about Jason Statham and your movie that's coming out. It's like, hello. It's like, but it's like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, why? You released the trailer today. You put it out for everybody to see. It's on YouTube. It's on this. It's like, just let us do it. Let's talk about it. All right. Thank you. All right. With that in mind, let's check out the first trailer that they released a little while ago, which shows even more action and even more of the Stath being just plain badass.
So listen, today's gonna be hard. Let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with. Let's get it.
You know the bad guys aren't going to leave with the same amount of fingers that they came with.
When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job.
Oh, Michael
You were
Peña's
patient
in it
with
too.
me.
I forgot that.
You,
He's a
Carla,
great actor.
Jenny, you're my family.
Excuse me, it's not your business. I'm good, boss.
You know he's going to make his business. Ow.
Was that some military shit?
Hey, you didn't see anything.
This is
get
a
right
Red
back
Bad
if I ever
trailer
need
too, I
it.
guess.
Jenny's missing.
She went out with her friends on Friday.
The police don't have the resources to work these cases. They take a report and forget about it.
Please, find our daughter.
And I love the music that they chose. You know, this is such an iconic song.
Where's the
and it
girl?
just works
You a
perfectly.
cop?
I mean, it's a
You
remake.
wish I was a cop.
So these guys are next level.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play. This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking. Remember Gunny?
Your blind war buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
David Harbour's awesome.
I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. M14. Pulled direct from Saddam's palace. Then I added a Bluetooth scope.
That's like the most awesome thing.
There's a special place, high rollers only. They can do anything as long as they pay.
Gangs, the mob, corrupt government officials, they're all involved in human trafficking. You're in the payroll too.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home.
That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife. That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you? What are you?
You know,
The payroll too.
and I'm just going to play this part again.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
Leaving over the pool table.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home.
That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife. That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you?
He's a working man.
What are you?
A working man. All right. So there you go. Got more comments here. Real Popcorn Geek says, Den of Thieves 2 is coming to Netflix on March 20th. 2 weeks after the... Yeah, that's right. It comes out on 4K and Blu-ray next week. I'm definitely picking that up. Yeah, my review for that is up. Not a lot of people like those movies. There's not a lot of action in them, but what action is pops, and I enjoyed the chemistry between O'Shea Jackson and Gerard Butler. Is it too long? Yeah. I mean, but like when I was watching it, I was like, you know what? This is a really long movie. I was engrossed in it, just like I was with the first one. And the director's cut was even longer than the first one. Super enjoyed that one. So yeah, Netflix, super cool. But I'm still gonna get it on the 4K when it comes out. Absolutely, or I wouldn't be a Gerard Butler fan if I did. But I mean, like here's the thing. I mean, I played these GIFs at the beginning, So you got Jason Statham, like I said, he's got that signature action. Like I say, Scott Adkins has his signature Adkins action. So does Statham, okay? So he's just badass, and he's just doing his thing. It's like he just oozes charisma and badassery. Like that right there. I mean, people have, like, I've seen military guys rip this movie apart, and I'm just like, it's yeah. It's fun. And that's the fight at the end. Yeah, he gets pretty effed up during that one. And then here he is outside, and he's not killing these guys. Those aren't necessarily bad guys. But here's the part I like from a working man. This is the part right here where he's coming. Like, I love how the bullets are sparking around him because they're hitting around him. That's just, ooh. And I love the Bluetooth scope. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, unfortunately, David Harbour is probably not going to figure it to the finale, or will he? We don't know. I mean, even though he's blind, he could be like Daredevil type of thing. Here we are back to the Beekeeper. I mean, it's just, he's fun to watch. He's fun to just, you're fun, Jason. You're just a fun action star to watch. So, and if somebody doesn't like you, that's what I gotta say. There you go. It's like, welcome to the club if you're a fan, though. There you go. All right. Yep, that's right, Jason. You never stop being you. All right. Okay, so that's what I got for this edition of the ACTION-FLIX podcast. We got Jason Statham, and real quick, let me just, since this is Jason's special episode that I'm doing here tonight. Not only does he get one but two versions of the podcast. We did a trailer tactical and a weekly intel because he is Jason Statham. I said I wasn't going to combine them anymore. If it's a trailer tactical, it's just going to be trailer tactical. If it's going to be weekly intel, it's just going to be weekly intel. Then I'm like, it's Jason Statham. Let's throw it all out the window and go crazy. So, because he's Jason Statham, everybody, because he's a badass MFer. And okay, so let's talk about Mutiny. I talked about this one a couple days ago on the weekly intel. So this is the new one he's doing with the director from Plane, which we all know is, again, a Gerard Butler movie. Let me see if I can find it. My computer is playing havoc with me right now. Give me a second. Hang on, I'll find it. Give me 1 second here, because it's pretty... Give me 2 seconds here as I'm scrolling down. Bear with... Oh, here we go. I found it. All right. So we got Jason Statham in Mutiny. And again, this looks a lot like everything else we just showed from Jason Statham tonight. So this is Mutiny. Here he is. I'm going to make it bigger again. Don't worry. Hang on. There, because I'm not showing a video right now. There's the this was the first official image from Mutiny. And again, it's directed by hang on, give me 2 seconds here. Yeah, Jean-Francois Richet. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If not, I apologize. But he directed a solid Gerard Butler action Plane, which had him starring with Mike Colter. And I liked it because Butler wasn't his batting character from the Has Fallen series. He was just a pilot who got thrown into a bad situation. Still did a lot of badass things, but Mike Colter was the badass. He was the secret. You knew he had some type of operative past, but he's been put in jail since and was getting extradited. And then, of course, they team up and everything. So this one is about Statham starring as Cole Reed, who, after seeing his billionaire industrious boss murdered in front of him, is set up to take the fall for the crime, leaving him on the run as he works to uncover an international conspiracy. That is right, everybody. So again, get excited for this one because, like I said, we got a Working Man coming out next month. It's almost March. This is the 27th, so we got one more day to go in February. But at the same time, and I apologize, I said January 6th. I'm going to correct that. It is January 9th that this comes out next year. My bad. Sorry. 3 days later. What are you going to do? Here we go. Another comment. Plane, Ship, and Mutiny. You'd think they were a trilogy. It's kind of like the three word Seagal movies. Out for Justice, Marked for Death, Above the Law. It's like exactly. I like it. Love it. Keep them coming. So this comes out on the 9th of January. And then, of course, we have the untitled Rick Woman-Raw directed picture that he's doing with Statham, which is now filming in the UK and Ireland as we speak. Statham's probably, as we speak, shooting an action scene where he's throwing people around like rag dolls, and his stunt people are, gonna give us some of the best action sequences we have seen in a long time. Okay, so that's what I got for this edition of the Action Fix podcast. So again, Jason Statham edition. I'm sure we'll have many more Jason Statham editions in the future because the man is on fire right now. He's like Scott Adkins, both British, both badass, both the hardest working men in action cinema, doing their thing, delivering what the fans want. And what more could you possibly want? I don't know. People still complain, but it's like, it is what it is. There's always going to be toxicity, and people are miserable, and they're going to complain about something. But as an action fan, is this the 80s and the 90s? Hell no. But is it still a good time to be an action cinema fan? Hell yes, because you're still getting quality product. And again, it's not going to be as politically incorrect as it was in the 80s and the 90s. Although some of it is, a lot of independent action cinema, they're still going that route, but a lot of, I get it. It's a change of times. It's a change of, eras and everything like that. But we're still getting badass action movies. And that is the most important thing. All right, real quick before I go. Again, I've been talking about the revamping of the Action Fix podcast here on my YouTube channel and ACTION-FLIX.com. Remember, that's my website. Don't forget to check out my website, ACTION-FLIX.com. That is the one that is 10 years old come this August. That's right, our 10-year anniversary of when I opened up the website, and here I am today, still doing it, still going strong, talking to action stars like Scott Adkins and Dolph Lundgren. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll talk to Jason Statham. You never know. But here's the thing. Okay, before I get to what I was gonna say, can I just say something right now? Okay, let me get to hang on a second. So I'm gonna Google Jason Statham on my website. Okay? Here we go. Hang on. Okay, so let me see real quick. Okay. Let me show you this real quick. If you Google Jason, you probably can't see that, but there's at least 6 pages of Jason Statham news on my website alone. That's 1. Here comes 2. A lot of it was for the Expendables 4. Again, I liked Expendables 4. So I got 6 pages of Jason Statham trailers, news, whatever, so it's like, but it's like, we still don't get the respect. I mean, I'm an action cinema website, and it's like a lot of times, and I get it. It's all about viewership and stuff like that. And I don't touch a candle to some of these bigger guys and stuff like that. But it's like, I got 6 pages, and Scott Adkins is even more. I got a whole section dedicated to Scott Adkins. It's called Essential Adkins if you haven't checked it out. Hang on. Let me get to my front page again. Okay, so right there is my Essential Adkins right there. So again, this is a section of the website specifically tailored and cultivated for Scott Adkins himself. All the news, all the trailers, all the interviews. I've interviewed him like 8 or 9 times. I just interviewed him late last year for Take Cover, so I'll probably interview him again this year. So I got, look, I got a whole section to him. But Day of Reckoning came out yesterday, and who debuted it? Collider. No offense to Collider. You guys are a big website, but you guys, I've been on your website. You hardly even do action cinema. Like, you could scroll and keep scrolling and keep scrolling, and it's like, oh, there's an action movie. Okay, let me keep going. Oh, there's another one. It's like, I just don't get it. It's like, yeah, I got it, but like, and a PR guy told me this because I was saying how, like, I'm not as big as the other guys are and stuff like that. He's like, okay, don't sell yourself short, John. He says, yes, you might not be as big as those guys, but if you put out the trailer for Day of Reckoning, let's just give that let's just put that out there as an example. It's probably going to have more of an impact because of what your website is designed and tailored for. Collider put it out yesterday, yeah, but it's like sandwiched in between all this, other stuff and stuff like that. Where, like, look, it's like I got a specific section, and there it is right there. So I'm going off on a tangent here, and I get it, but it's just something I've been thinking about lately. And when he said that, I was like, wow, that is awesome. Thank you so much. Because like me being in a smaller site, but it's like I make more of an impact in action cinema because I'm specifically geared towards that. So that was an awesome thing for him to say. So yeah, so right there, it's like, I got Essential Atkins. I love the title that I gave it. Way back when I first started my website, I had a page for Scott Atkins news and stuff like that. But I've since turned it into this because it's a lot easier. And it's so if you're ever looking for Scott Atkins news, trailers, reviews, and interviews with the man himself, well, look no further. Just come to my website, and there you go. You just click on that, and everything about the man is right there. All right, let's see what Real Popcorn Geek has to say again. Ooh, the director of Plane, Ship, and Mutiny was also the director of Bloodfather. Yes. Mel Gibson's awesome Bloodfather, and the Assault on Precinct 13 remake, which I enjoyed. Was it as good as the original one? Well, it's apples and oranges. It was kind of a different tone than the original John Carpenter one was. But again, yes, very cool. So again, Mutiny's in good hands. Real Popcorn Geek when we talk about that because he's done a lot of action in the past too. All right, so there's my tangent. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I don't get paid to do I get paid, but it's like, here, let me get myself bigger again. Here, how close can I put my thumb to my finger? That's how much I get paid to do my website without touching my thumb to my finger. So I do this because I love it. I do it because there's Jason Statham doing what Jason Statham does. And here I am doing a podcast all about Jason Statham. So Jason, if you're out there, and I'm sure he would give me his time, but it's his PR people that you have to go through, and they're the ones that okay everything. And I know the man's busy and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like, I support you probably more than if you go to other action websites, it's like, do you have 6 or 7 pages of Jason Statham news? I don't know. But I do because he's just badass. Let's watch it again. Ready? There it is. All he's doing is disarming a gun, but he's still making it look badass. And all he's doing is flipping over all he's doing, he's disarming a man and making him look stupid. So it's like, here he is flipping over. I love this scene. I could show this all day. That is just that's just super. And here he is beating up FBI guys. It's like, so my Jason Statham Love Fest is over for today. All right, so again, if you were watching here on my live edition of the ACTION-FLIX podcast, Jason Statham edition, thank you very much. We talked about all of his upcoming stuff. We got Beekeeper 2, Timo and Jason hooking up. We all know it's going to be ultra badass. It's going to be ultra violent, ultra hype, ultra everything. Let's just put everything after ultra, and that's what this movie is going to be. Not, David Ayer is awesome and at the same time, but if you're going to replace David Ayer, there's no better man to go to than Timo. And again, Timo has Nobody 2 coming out this year with Bob Odenkirk, who comes out in the summertime. Can't wait to see how the action differs from the first one because, I'm sure he's putting his signature design on these movies that he's doing. And of course, it's North American film crews. Like when he's in Indonesia, they have, they probably have, less, it's like if you watch Thai movies, it's like those people have to end up in hospitals because holy cow, it's like, how can they not die with some of those stunts that they do? All right, but I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to let you guys get on with the rest of your night, and long live Jason Statham. Oh, okay, one more thing. Gene Hackman, yes, Gene Hackman has passed away. He was 95, and I'm not even going to talk about the weirdness that's surrounding it, like with his wife and his dog, and it's unfortunate because it's such a great actor, legendary, iconic actor, so many great movies. Uncommon Valor is one of my favorite action movies of all time, and all the other movies that he's done. And then this is whatever comes out in the next coming days and weeks. It's like, don't worry. Let's not even talk. Let's just talk about the man and what he did. Superman, he was the ultimate Lex Luthor. Rest in peace. And again, if you saw my tribute to him on social media, I did his quote from Uncommon Valor that he did, when they're separating to go off and do their things in the finale of Uncommon Valor. Such a poignant thing to say, and I just thought that was fitting to say goodbye to the man that has entertained me since I was a child, essentially, because I saw him in Superman the movie on opening weekend. So he's basically been entertaining me since I was 5. So there you go. So again, rest in peace, Mr. Hackman. There's nobody like you. There will never be anybody like you. You were the best, and it was unfortunate, like whatever this is or whatever happened. It's just unfortunate. But let's remember the man through his work and watch his movies. I'm going to go watch Uncommon Valor tonight when my daughter goes to bed, and just because I've seen it 8,000 times. But it's like, it's super fun. He's visiting Otisburg. That's right. There you go. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that send off. That's awesome. Yep. There you go. Ned Beatty. Yep. Okay. Well, on that note, there you go. Like I said, have a good rest of the evening. Make sure you watch something with Gene Hackman in it, and make sure you watch something with Jason Statham in it to get you pumped up for March 28th when A Working Man comes out. And then we got all this ultra coolness for Jason Statham coming in the future. So don't forget ActionFlix.com. We are your source, your ultimate destination for action cinema and television. And this is where it's at. Again, you know, we got the reviews, we got the news, we got interviews. Again, I'm putting out the one for Uppercut that comes out tomorrow with Louie, such a great gal. Had a great chat with her, so be on the lookout for that one. And until next time, everybody, be kind to one another, treat others as you would want to be treated, and be nice until it's time to not be nice. All right, good night, everybody.